If you've listened to basically any pop music from the last 20 years, you've heard it. That voice,
Oh, yeah.
that perfectly in tune, sometimes almost robotic sound on every single note.
It's everywhere.
Today, we're going to break down the one piece of tech that made all of that possible and how it completely changed, well, everything about how music sounds.
And this thing started as like a top secret tool, you know? It was meant to be totally invisible. So we're going to explain the wild science behind it, how it works, and why it ended up starting this huge cultural debate.
Okay, so let's start with the origin story because it is truly bizarre. The guy who invented this wasn't a musician, not an audio engineer.
Not at all.
His name was Andy Hildebrand, and his actual job was using math to find oil deposits deep underground.
And that's the key detail, really. He was an expert in something called signal processing. He'd analyze seismic data or vibrations in the earth to map out rock formations.
He was literally listening to waves in the ground.
Exactly. Slow geological waves. And then a friend at dinner one night gives him this challenge. Just kind of offhand.
Right, can you invent something to make me sing in tune?
And he has this flash of insight. He realizes the math he's using for seismic waves could work on audio waves.
Because a wave is a wave.
A wave is a wave. The physics are the same, whether it's moving through rock or a microphone cable.
So he gets to work.
And in 1997, his company, Antares Audio Technologies, releases the software. But you got to remember what it was for at first.
Right, its original mission.
It was supposed to be this invisible professional tool. An engineer would use it, late at night to fix one or two slightly flat notes from a professional singer who's been in the studio for like 10 hours.
It was meant to be a secret, total transparent perfection.
Yeah.
To appreciate the fix, though, we kind of have to get into the science of sound itself.
Yeah, absolutely. So digital pitch correction is really just a computer changing a sound's frequency.
Okay.
And every single musical note you can hear is just a specific number of vibrations per second.
And we measure that in a unit called hertz, right? Or hertz.
Exactly. So, for example, the standard tuning note, A above middle C, is 440 hertz.
Meaning 440 vibrations every second.
Right. So, say a singer's just a little bit flat. They hit 435 hertz instead of 440. The software's first job is to hear that tiny mistake instantly.
How does it even do that? I mean, a human voice isn't just one clean frequency. It's really complex.
This is where Hildebrand's oil-finding math comes in. It uses a process with a really complicated name, a fast Fourier transform.
An FFT.
An FFT. Just think of it like a sound autopsy. It takes that complex soup of sound from the singer and instantly separates it into all of its ingredients, finding the main pitch with incredible accuracy.
So it knows, okay, the singer is 5 hertz flat. Then what?
Then the computer has to fix it. It calculates exactly how much it needs to stretch or compress that sound wave to force it up to the target, to 440 hertz.
And it does this without making the voice sound sped up or slowed down.
Right, and that's the magic. It's working on tiny, tiny little digital samples of the audio, thousands of them a second. And if the correction is small, like just 5 hertz, your ear literally cannot tell that anything has been changed. It just sounds perfect.
And that's why basically every pop song uses it, even with the best singers, for that final polish.
A little bit of polish.
But that's the subtle side. The reason we can all hear the effect sometimes, that really obvious sound, comes down to a couple of key settings.
The very first thing a producer has to do is set the musical key.
Like C major or G minor, something like that.
Exactly. This tells the software which notes are correct. It basically puts up digital guardrails, so the voice will only be pulled toward notes that actually belong in the song.
It locks it in. But the single most important control, the one that created a whole new sound, is the retune speed.
This is everything. It's measured in milliseconds, and it just tells the software how fast to make the correction.
So a slow speed would sound natural.
Very natural. If you set it to, say, 100 milliseconds, it gently glides the voice from the wrong note to the right one. It sounds like a human singer sliding into a note. It's invisible.
But if you set that speed to 0...
If you set it to 0, you give the software no time to transition. The pitch doesn't glide. It jumps.
Right, snaps.
It snaps instantly from the wrong note to the right one. And that sudden, unnatural digital jump is what creates that robotic sound.
And I've heard it can also correct vibrato, that little wave in a singer's voice.
Yep. You can set it to flatten out the vibrato completely, which adds another layer of this eerie, perfectly steady digital sound.
So the whole cultural story really begins when someone decided to misuse that retune speed on purpose.
Pretty much.
And the whole world heard it for the first time on one massive hit song. Believe by Cher back in 1998.
The producers knew exactly what they were doing. They weren't hiding a mistake. They wanted that artificial sound. So they cranked the retune speed to absolute zero.
And at the time, nobody knew what it was. People thought it was a vocoder, like from a sci-fi movie.
Yeah, they had no idea. But its success proved that the software wasn't just a repair tool. It was a creative instrument. It gave artists a way to sound futuristic or alien. It became known as the Cher effect.
And from there, it just exploded. Completely transformed hip-hop and R&B.
Oh, massively. You had T-Pain in the early 2000s, and he didn't just use it for an effect on one song. He made it his entire signature sound.
It was a huge shift. T-Pain and others started using it to blend rapping, which is all about rhythm, with these really complex melodies and harmonies.
Yes. It meant artists who maybe weren't classically trained singers could now create these incredibly melodic hooks. It was a huge deal. It bridged the gap between street poetry and mainstream pop music.
So that digital vocal became the main event.
It became the focus. And yeah, at first a lot of critics hated it. They called it fake or lazy. But the audience loved it, and it basically became a cornerstone of modern trap and melodic rap.
So the tech goes from this studio secret to a global phenomenon. But it didn't just stay in the studio, did it?
No, it had to go live. The demand for that perfect sound was so high that they built special hardware units. Boxes that could do this pitch correction in real time for a live performance.
Which serves two purposes, I guess. First, it's a safety net, right? If you're a huge pop star doing complicated dance moves.
You can be out of breath.
Yeah.
It helps keep the pitch consistent.
And second, it maintains the sound from the record. If the album has that robotic effect, the fans want to hear it live.
They expect it. But this, using it live, is where the big controversy really kicks off.
The authenticity debate.
Exactly. The critics argue it's just dishonest, that it hides an artist's real ability and takes the soul, the human imperfection, out of the performance.
It's like a little crack in a voice that makes it unique.
Right. And they worry it makes everyone sound the same.
Yeah.
If you're fixing every singer to the same perfect mathematical grid, do you lose individuality?
But the supporters push back. They say it's just another tool.
Of course. No different from an electric guitar or a synthesizer. The goal isn't to document a raw performance. It's to create a perfected work of art.
They'd say artists have always used technology to push boundaries. Why should singers be any different?
It's that constant tension, flawless art versus human vulnerability.
What's really interesting is how a lot of artists today have moved way past that debate. They're not using it to fix anything. They're using it as an instrument.
Totally. They use those extreme zero-speed settings to create these wild, glitchy jumps between notes that a human throat could never, ever make.
You hear that a lot in genres like hyperpop.
It's the whole point of hyperpop. The goal isn't to sound like a perfect human anymore. It's to sound like something post-human, something digital.
And this has all trickled down, right? It's changed how kids learn to make music.
It's been revolutionary. This software, which used to cost a fortune and only existed in major studios, is now on laptops in teenagers' bedrooms.
It's democratized production.
Completely. And so the focus in music education is shifting a little. You still need to learn to sing or play, but now there's this huge emphasis on digital literacy, on understanding how to manipulate sound waves with these tools.
And the technology is still moving forward. It's going beyond just pitch.
We're now heading deep into the age of AI for vocals. There are new programs that can change not just the pitch, but the timbre of a voice.
Timbre being the actual quality of the voice. What makes you sound like you and me sound like me?
Exactly. This new software can make one person's voice sound exactly like someone else's, or even translate what you're singing into another language in your own voice in real time.
That raises so many questions about, well, everything. Identity, ownership.
And we already have virtual singers, characters who only exist as code, who are huge pop stars in some parts of the world. That line between human and computer is just getting blurrier every year.
So this one piece of software, which started with a guy looking for oil
with sound waves,
has now defined entire genres of music, opened up production to millions of people, and is still pushing the idea of what a voice can even be.
It's one of the most influential audio inventions maybe ever.
So here's a final thought for you. Since technology can now completely change a voice, make one person sound like another, or create a voice from scratch.
What does authenticity in music even mean anymore when the sound you're hearing might be completely disconnected from the person who supposedly sang it?
Good luck with your studies.
See you next time.